If you have ever opened up a Texas real estate contract and thought, this feels like I need a law degree, you are definitely not alone. We do this every day, and even we remember the first time we saw one. It's dense, it's technical, and every word matters.
Here is the part that people do not realize. These are not just fancy terms. They directly affect your money, your leverage, your timeline, and whether you can walk away from a deal.
Today, we are breaking down the top 10 words that show up in almost every Texas real estate transaction that most people either misunderstand or never fully understand.
Yeah, we're not just defining them. We are going to explain how they actually work in real life, because that is what matters.
If you're thinking about buying or selling anywhere in Texas, this will make you way more confident when it comes to signing.
First term, option period. The option period gives the buyer the unrestricted right to terminate the contract for any reason within a negotiated number of days. Inspection issues, financing nerves, they change their mind, it doesn't matter.
And this is where strategy comes in. The length of that option period is negotiable. It's 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, sometimes longer. From a seller's perspective, a shorter option period usually feels stronger because the buyer is committing more quickly. Buyer's perspective, this is your window to gather all your information. This is when you schedule inspections and when you truly evaluate the home.
We always tell buyers, do not treat the option period like a vacation. It is a working window. You want inspections done early, not on the last day.
Once it expires, your ability to exit cleanly changes dramatically. Number 2, which has to do with number 1, and that is the option fee. The option fee is what the buyer pays directly to the seller, but the title company still holds it sometimes for that unrestricted termination right. Here is the important part. It is non-refundable. Even if the buyer terminates on day 1, the seller keeps the money.
Now that sounds harsh, but it is typically credited back to the buyer at closing if the deal does go through. So think of it as paying for flexibility.
This is also a negotiation tool. A higher option fee can make a buyer's offer look stronger, especially in a competitive situation. We saw this a lot during that peak market. Buyers would increase the option fee to stand out.
Or they would just not have an option. But today is more balanced, but it still matters. It shows seriousness, seriosity. Number 3, earnest money. Earnest money is different from option money. This is the buyer's good faith deposit held by the title company, and it sits in an escrow account until closing.
This is where timelines matter again. If a buyer terminates properly during the option period, they usually get their earnest money back. But if they default after the option period without a valid reason under the contract, the seller may be entitled to keep it.
The contract deadlines are not just suggestions.
For sellers, a higher earnest money deposit often signals a more committed buyer. Number 4, what is a title company? Texas is what's called a title state. This means we do not typically close with attorneys like other states do.
The title company acts as a neutral third party. They verify ownership, they check on liens, they handle escrow funds, and they issue title insurance. They're basically making sure that what is being sold can actually legally be sold.
And this is one of those behind the scenes pieces that most buyers never really fully see, but it is a critical step. If there's a lien, a judgment, unpaid taxes, anything attached to that property, the title company catches it.
5, the title commitment. Once the title company does their research, they issue something called a title commitment. This document outlines what they are willing to insure and lists exceptions like easements or deed restrictions.
And this is where people often get surprised sometimes. You find out there's a drainage easement in the backyard preventing a pool, or an HOA restriction limiting to what you can actually build there.
If you plan on adding a guest house or parking a boat or building a pool or whatever, this document really does matter.
We always review it carefully with clients because what's in there can absolutely affect your long-term plans. 6, now we're going to talk about the survey. So the survey is the official drawing of property boundaries and improvements. It shows all the structures, fences, any easements or encroachments.
And encroachments are more common than people realize. We have seen fences built over property lines, sheds partially on neighbors' lots, even driveways that cross boundaries.
The survey protects both parties. It confirms what is actually physically there matches what is legally owned. Sometimes we can reuse an existing survey, sometimes we can't. It just depends on the changes and also lender requirements.
Number 7, the appraisal. The appraisal is ordered by the lender, not the buyer. It determines the market value of the home based on comparable sales.
If the home appraises lower than the contract price, then we have a situation. The lender will only lend based on the appraised value, not the agreed price.
So those options are there to renegotiate. The buyer can bring additional cash, or the deal could fall apart. But
overpricing can create appraisal challenges that delay or completely derail a transaction. Number 8, a contingency. It's a condition that must be met for the contract to proceed. Include financing approval, appraisal, or the sale of another property.
For the seller's perspective, the more contingencies, the more moving parts. From a buyer's perspective, the more contingencies provides more protection.
It's about balance, risk versus flexibility.
Number 9, buyer concessions. So buyer concessions are costs that the seller agrees to pay for the buyer. Usually, this helps with closing costs or buying down the interest rate.
In shifting markets, concessions become powerful negotiation tools. Instead of dropping a price significantly, sometimes a seller can offer concessions to create affordability without lowering the public sales price.
So this is really where strategy comes to play.
Number 10 is the closing disclosure. So the closing disclosure is the final financial breakdown of the transaction. It lists every single fee, prorated tax, lender charge, and title fee.
Buyers must receive this at least 3 days prior to closing. This is not just a skim document. This is something that we review carefully with our clients to avoid any surprises at the closing table.
Once you get to the closing day, you really want it to feel smooth and not stressful and be going over those numbers right.
Real estate contracts can feel intimidating, but they do not have to be. Understanding the terminology really puts you in control.
Our job is to make sure that our clients are never guessing what they are signing.
Yeah. If you found this helpful, subscribe to Austin Home Guide. We break down real estate in a way that actually makes sense.
And if you're thinking about buying or selling in Texas, reach out. We would love to guide you through it. So We'll see you on the next one.
Bye. Yay.
All right.